Hello everybody, my name is Alex and welcome to the 8th episode of our podcast, Reframing Modern Medicine. Our mission is to bring awareness on the evolving treatment choices for the human condition. This is the second part to our previous episode where we interviewed Michael Deschalit, a certified hypnotist. In this episode, we continue to talk about hypnotherapy and how hypnosis is a complementing modality to medicine. If you would like to enjoy this podcast with video, please check out our page on Spotify and YouTube. Thanks, and we hope you enjoy.
So you also mentioned you use other devices or other things to kind of help you, I guess, is it relax or is it for the brain? What was that system?
Yeah, there's other things that you can use in our practice. My practice is a little bit different than most. All of my practice is entirely virtual. It's all online. So I don't have a physical office like you have. So I see all of my clients, because I have a global practice, I see everybody on Zoom. Now, I have clients all around the world. It's just as effective as seeing somebody in person. The only difference is I can't shake somebody's hand or hug them when our session is over. Yeah. Because that computer screen gets in the way. But it's still just as effective. Hypnosis works exactly the same. When I had a physical office, before I moved to Las Vegas, I lived in Tucson, Arizona, and I had a physical office there for about 12 years, and actually about 15 years. And so I use different modalities. There's
A modality is a method of treatment. For example, surgery and chemotherapy are treatment modalities for cancer.
some devices that you can purchase, light and sound goggles they're called.
Yeah.
So they're like a pair of sunglasses you put on, and they have LED lights on the inside. And you look through your closed eyelids at these lights, and they blink in various patterns. You put on headphones, and they have different binaural beats and different sounds that play through them that stimulate both hemispheres of the brain. They also stimulate the ocular nerve too, which deals with, directly connected with the brain and how it functions and how it thinks, and that causes some change as well too. There's always been some sort of different mechanical stimulation to induce hypnosis. Used to a long time ago, they used to have clients look at strobe lights. And I have actually a machine in my office at home, and it's basically a strobe light on a rheostat.
A rheostat is defined as a variable resistor which is used for controlling the flow of electric current either by increasing or decreasing the resistance.
So I can slow down or speed up the blink of the strobe light. We start off slow. We sort of match the general beats per millisecond of the human mind when you're in the waking state. We're going to get technical here, so follow this. The beta state is the waking state. And then we start slowing down those strobe beats to the alpha state, which is a relaxed state, like much when you're watching a TV show or reading a book and you are relaxed, but you're aware, and so you might go and react when you read a passage in the book that's shocking. Yeah. Or when you see something on TV. And then we slow it down to what's called the theta state, which is hypnosis, 4 to 8 millibeats per second.
Yeah.
And then if you slow it down even further to the delta state, that's what we call sleep. And so we don't really do that in hypnosis because I have one rule. If I can't take a nap while we're doing this, neither can you. So you got to stay awake, right? And so, but not fully awake. So in between there. So we used to have people stare at the strobe light. We'd slow it down, and eventually that monotony or that repetition would cause you to zone out. And it's interesting, that device was created by I think it's the Schrader company. They also created the radar screen. The modern radar screen where you see that circle and you see that sweeping beam of light that goes around and you hear the boop, boop, boop. Yeah. Well, what was happening was they had to change the whole pattern of that. People were watching the radar screen and going into a hypnagogic state. They were getting relaxed. They were zoning out, and they weren't paying attention because they were hyper relaxed.
Yeah.
So they changed the pace of that to keep them more alert. Wow. So they came up with then this new device to help people go into hypnosis. A metronome. Yeah, metronome. Where you keep time. Metronome is great for getting people into hypnosis. That monotony. Looking at a fireplace, watching the fire, the crackle of the fire, and watching just how it flickers. That puts people into hypnosis. The waves crashing on a shore, that monotony, ebbing and flowing, will put people into hypnosis. The ancient sleep temples of early modern man, they would have drumming and chanting, and that repetition of drumming will put you into that hypnagogic state too.
Wow. That's
So, yeah.
so cool. So this has existed for centuries, and
Yeah, and even the stereotypical, what's the symbol that represents the hypnotist? The pocket watch, right?
oh yeah, that's
Dangling
right.
the watch, okay? That actually could work. We don't do that. It's too clichéic. We have better ways of inducing trance than that. But if you watch the pocket watch swinging back and forth, it's the same as the metronome without the sound. Or sometimes people have, I've seen this in movies where they have somebody stare at a pen. And if they stare at a pen long enough, their eyes get fatigued. That fatigue in the central nervous system causes you to relax.
Yeah.
When you relax, then we can start slipping in those suggestions.
Yeah.
Or the movie Get Out,
Oh yeah.
where the lady stirred the coffee cup or the teacup, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's not COVID, by the way. That's tuberculosis. I'll be fine.
The worst.
Yeah, so the jokes are free, by the way. So that stirring that teacup
Yeah.
was monotonous, and it was a trigger,
Yeah.
and it helped re-induce hypnosis every time he saw that happen. Not how we do it, but it could work that way.
Wow, that's amazing.
People when they're driving,
Yeah.
highway hypnosis, they see those white lines. There was a country western song, White Line Fever, right? People see the white lines going by as they're driving down the road, and they start fixating on those. And then before you know it, you've got road hypnosis or highway hypnosis. You miss your own turnoff, or you forget about the last 3 miles you've driven.
Yeah. I think they purposely try to make the roads a little windier, right? Because of that, I want to say.
Right. So you have to pay attention. Yep. Or they
Yeah.
put those rumble strips in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that wakes you up
when
really
you have to
fast.
slow down before like a turnabout.
Yeah.
Another example is sound too. The movie Paranormal Activity, the very first one. If you listen to the soundtrack of that movie, there's no music. The only soundtrack is this, and this is how they induced and re-induced hypnosis every time they wanted to scare you. Because if you're analyzing it, if you're saying, I'm not going to be scared, I'm not going to be scared, I'm not going to be scared, it's just a movie, you wouldn't be scared. And if you turned off the volume of this movie, it wouldn't be as scary. So every time something was going to happen on camera that they were supposed to capture this paranormal activity, they would play this note. And everybody knew that when that note played, oh my gosh, they're going to sleep now, the camera's on, uh-oh, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then something small would happen, and then they'd escalate it the next time and the next time and the next time. Plus, they pre-framed you to be scared when you're in the queue to watch the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, this happens a lot.
Yeah.
We hypnotize people intentionally. We live in Vegas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Think about the brightly colored carpet in the casinos, the noises that we hear. That's all meant to give you sensory overload. So your mind just says, I give up, uncle. And your conscious mind stops analyzing. Your subconscious mind kicks in. You start believing you're going to win. And let's face it, these places aren't paid for by winners,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely not.
Definitely
by
not. Plus the
losers.
scents they pump in the air, to the smells they pump in the air. It's all necessary. It's all part of that hypnotic process.
Do you use that? Do you use any sense or like
I
aromatherapy?
used to when I do my hypnotic gastric band program, because there was a session 2 is where we do and I'll use air quotes for our listeners when I say this, the surgery session. Okay, there's no surgery.
Oh, right.
But in their mind, they actually hear
Yeah.
the beating of a heart monitor in the background. They hear doctors talking in the background. They hear this mumbling in the background, right? And then they hear the doot, 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 doot of the heart monitor saying they're fine. And then I would open up this little canister that had a disinfectant tab in there that smelled like the sterilization of a hospital. And I would just waft that their direction.
Whoa.
And they'd smell that and they go, oh my God, I'm in a hospital.
My God.
And I'm here getting this procedure, and it's safe, and I feel good about it.
Amazing.
Yeah, so they would feel that, and they would hear that, and they would sense that. So we use all the modalities,
That
all
is-
the senses.
That is amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. I can visualize it. I mean, now. Does it matter if the person's more, like you said, because children, older people, if they're more creative and just have a better imagination? Or,
It helps to
just
have a
more
good
helpful?
imagination. You have to be impressionable. You have to have a good imagination. You have to have trust and rapport with the hypnotist too.
Right.
So you have to feel comfortable that I'm not going to do anything while you're in hypnosis that's going to be contradictory to why you're here.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to take off all your clothes, run around naked, and rob a bank.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. I wouldn't do that because that's not why you're here.
Yeah.
So we do have to work with people with every different level of modality learning. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, some people are kinesthetic learners. Yeah. Some people use their sense of smell, their olfactory, and the gustatory sense of taste. Yeah. So we play on all those senses in the hypnotic session to make it as vibrant and vivified as possible, so that way they can experience it, not just me talking to them and saying words, but they start feeling it, seeing it, hearing it, even if it's only in their imagination, to create those sensations.
Oh. And so where would we find someone like yourself, or where do you recommend people to look up and find maybe a hypnotherapist?
Sure. You can find hypnotherapists just by searching, hypnotherapist in your town, like Hypnotherapist Las Vegas or Hypnosis Las Vegas or Las Vegas Hypnosis. Just searching, doing a Google search like that. Check out their credentials, look at their websites, see if that aligns with what your kind of thoughts are. There's some people that do more spiritual type hypnosis sessions. There's people that are more clinical type. Some people wear, suits and ties when they come into their office. I don't do that. I'm much more relaxed. The clients that I attract are much more relaxed. So, and make sure too, some people like to see a hypnotherapist in person. Some people are comfortable seeing a hypnotist online. I offer a free consultation, and it's on Zoom also. I want them to feel comfortable with the process before they actually subscribe and purchase one of the programs. Want to make sure they feel comfortable working on Zoom.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Oh, well, now that's what I love about the podcast is that people get to see who you are, you talking about it, and they're more open to kind of trying to build a rapport, or calling you up and then building a rapport. They felt like they already have it. I mean, they've kind of, like, I know this guy. I feel like I know him, and it's happened on a few occasions with the therapist, or like the marriage and family therapist. She's like, hey, like I feel like I know her, but I don't know her. And some people see her, and it's pretty kind of like a celebrity almost. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. Well, you are a celebrity in a way. You're a magician. You're pretty out there, so you're a famous guy.
That happened when I came into your office.
Yeah.
Right. You said you look familiar, and I'm like, I don't know. Have you ever been a patient? Nope, never been a patient. And then you said, I saw your show downtown, the magic show. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Okay. Well,
And it's strange for me. Sometimes I have to like either touch the person or just listen to them for a little bit. And maybe not strange, but for me, it's always like that. I'll make contact with their body, or I get real close, and then I'm like, wait a few seconds. I guess with everyone's like this, and then I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the information. Like something got unlocked. And I'm like, there it is.
It's that intuitive sense, and that's part of your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Do you have rapport with the person? Do you like them? Do you trust them? Yeah. That's important and critical for the hypnotic process. I have a different personality. I like to joke around a little bit. I do that with my clients. Yeah. My jokes are bad jokes, but they laugh at them anyways. And, but they know that I'm a little bit sarcastic, and they know that I'm going to push them when I need to push them. I always ask their permission to do that. Just like you in here, when you're doing the stretching stuff, you always ask, does that hurt? Tell me when it does. We'll back off a little bit. Yeah. And so you have to have that rapport and trust with your clients or patients for you to make sure the treatment's effective. You could do it without that, but you're much more effective if you are in rapport and trust with your clients. Awesome. If they don't trust you, if they're skeptical about you, I tell my clients right away, if we're not a good match for each other, because that consultation is them interviewing me and me interviewing them. Yeah. If we don't feel comfortable with each other, then I'm happy to refer you to somebody else. Yeah. And give it a shot. Some people don't want a male hypnotherapist. They want a female hypnotherapist. Yeah. I've got friends. I'm happy to refer out because it's not about me. It's about the client. I want what's best for the client. Right. And if they feel better with somebody else, then that's great. I want them to get help no matter what.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now, was there a demonstration or anything? I think you mentioned last time before.
It's interesting. To do hypnosis on a podcast is, I don't really do it, but here's what I would say. And the reason why I don't do it, I should explain that. The reason I don't do it is because I like to observe somebody going into hypnosis for, number one, safety reasons. Now, nothing bad can happen in hypnosis except for this. If I were to hypnotize somebody and they were sitting at home, sitting at, say, their dining room table. Oh, right. And they could get so relaxed they could fall right out of the chair.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen. So having that visual with them is always helpful. But if you want to try hypnosis, the best way to do it is get online, search free hypnosis recordings. There's a billion places out there that'll get them. Mine, I have some out there as well, other hypnotists, and a lot of them put out free things where you can try them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can, listen to it in the privacy of your own home, laying down in your bed or on your sofa where you're comfortable, and you just listen to that person talking. A good hypnosis recording starts off explaining that you're going to be in control, and not to do it while you're driving a car or operating heavy machinery. Now, you can do it while in a car. It's very relaxing for you, but disturbing for the people in the lanes next to you. So don't go into hypnosis while you're in a car that's driving. So you try it in the privacy of your own home. Just get relaxed, get comfy. They usually play some music in the background, and that gets you nice and relaxed. They say some words. They get you into hypnosis. And rest assured, you're only going to go as deep in hypnosis as you allow yourself to go. Nice. So try it 2 or 3 times.
Absolutely.
When you start trusting that recording, and it sounds silly, but you can be in rapport and trust of a recording too.
Yeah.
When you've listened through it and you know what they're going to say every time, it doesn't change, then you get better at it each and every time. It's like riding a bike.
Absolutely.
First time you get on the bike, you go about 2 feet and you fall over. Second time you go about 4 feet and you fall over.
Yeah.
Next time you go about 20 feet, and then after a while you go like the wind until you figure out you haven't learned how to use the brakes yet. Then you might fall over, but you'll figure it out eventually.
The brakes are falling.
Yeah.
Alex, is there anything else you want to mention or ask? I'm trying to think. I think I covered all the questions here.
I just wanted to ask, what countries have you gone to? Because I know when I tried setting up this interview with you, you said you were out of the country.
Sure. I have trained people in Canada. I've trained people in the United States. I've trained people from Mexico. I've trained people in Australia. A partner of mine, we did a big training in Australia. We trained about 12 people how to use hypnosis for both clinical stuff and stage stuff. So most of the time my trainings are here in Las Vegas, and people come from other countries to be here because, let's face it, we have the coolest city in the world to live in. So why wouldn't you want to come to Las Vegas, right? But I've trained people in 13 different countries, over 300 hypnotists, and have performed in Canada, Mexico, the United States, Japan, Australia. I'm trying to think where else now. I don't know. I have a map at home that has pins in it. I should have brought that.
So wait, do you speak other languages as well?
I speak sarcasm.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I took 2 years of Spanish in college, so now I speak fluent Cheech and Chong. So that's about it. No, English is a struggle for some days for me.
Well, that's good. It's always a struggle sometimes. Yeah, I get a lot of Spanish-speaking patients too. That's why I ask. So sometimes I'm sure you can provide some info for someone. That
I can. Yeah, I can definitely help them. I've got some friends that speak Spanish that are great hypnotherapists, and I can refer them to them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does it matter? Like, because I speak 2 languages, what are your recommendations for that for someone who's bilingual or trilingual?
Your native tongue is English or Spanish?
So I grew up learning just Spanish until the age of about, I think, 5 or 6. Then I went to school or whatever age that was, and then I started taking classes in English and Spanish.
So your dominant language now is probably English, I'm guessing?
Yeah, at this point, yeah. But I speak a lot of Spanish now because of the patients.
Sure.
More than I did before or have before.
I would say what you feel the most comfortable with. And again, it will work either way as long as there's no resistance to it.
Okay.
In a hypnosis session, and you'll see this even actually in a show. In my hypnosis show, I talk very, very fast. Because I have a limited amount of time on the stage and I need to do what I need to do to get them into hypnosis. And there's protocol and safety things that we need to go through so they're not falling out of their chairs or falling off the stage. So I've got a lot of information I need to cover in a short period of time. And so I talk very, very fast. But what we found in hypnosis is that your subconscious mind can keep up. No matter how quickly you're speaking, the subconscious mind can hear that. Here's an example. You've seen the TV commercials where they talk about leasing a car. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And they talk about At the very end, they have to do that financial disclaimer.
Oh, yeah, that's fact.
Based upon APR of 7.3% over 36 months, $1,000 minimum down payment. They talk really, really fast.
Chipmunks, yeah.
Right? They do that speed up talk. Well, the government that regulates that disclaimer, the part of the government that regulates it, they deemed that was an acceptable speed because the subconscious mind can understand it.
Wow.
You may not be able to repeat it unless if I spoke very slowly, based on an APR of 3.75% with $1,000 down payment. You could probably regurgitate that and restate that after I'm done.
Yeah.
But if I said it very, very fast, your subconscious mind still accepts it and goes, okay, I got that. You just can't say it back.
Yeah.
So as far as speaking English or Spanish, in a hypnosis session, typically we speak slower. I want to make sure that everything is clear, because when you close your eyes to go into hypnosis, you eliminate one of those modalities, your sense of sight. Mm-hmm. As we look at each other now and we're talking, we're subconsciously looking at each other's lips. If I said a word that wasn't clear, you would have looked at my lips when I said it, and you'd probably go, oh, it's that word, not that word. Mm-hmm. And so when you eliminate that sense of sight, we definitely have to speak a little bit slower, enunciate a little bit clearer. That's why hypnotists are known for speaking a little bit slower when you're going into hypnosis.
Yeah,
and they go into that voice because it's much more pleasing.
Yeah.
So when you take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Yeah. So it's a little bit slower. Now, anything that's not as important, I could speak a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Because maybe we mentioned it before you closed your eyes.
Mm. Now, do you ever notice any of this being implemented, like sight, sounds, and in commercials? And I mean, you just gave one example, but in other media or other maybe professions or anything like that, that maybe us as the average Joe or layperson is not aware?
Sure. Hypnosis is used everywhere. It's used for everything, for things like sales especially. Now, it's not covert, and I have to say this because a lot of times people think, oh, well, he hypnotized me to buy this car. Nope, you wanted to buy the car, okay? Mm-hmm. He just helped you rationalize it more in your belief system. Okay, so salespeople use it all the time. If you take a look at TV commercials, that's sales, okay? If you take a look at the new Viagra commercial, there's a sexy-looking, middle-aged woman lying on a bed on a nice, like, ocean kind of a scene. I think that's what it was. And it's this canopy bed. It's a beautiful bed. It's a beautiful lady. She's wearing this silky flowing gown thing. It's for Viagra. Where's the guy? There's no guy in the commercial. The pill is for guys. When you're watching the Carl's Jr. commercial and you see that sexy girl wearing the shorty shorts, eating the big juicy hamburger. Yes, Dr. Rivas, there is a hamburger in that picture. You probably didn't notice it. You were probably going, wow, she's hot. But it makes you want to buy it. You're thinking, if I eat that burger, I'm going to get that girl. Or if I take that blue pill, I'm going to get that girl. We're going to suddenly be transformed to this beach with this canopy bed, and life's going to be great. Right. So it's all suggestive selling. And people suggest things all the time. When you go to a car lot, and you say, do you like the black one or the red one? I go, I like the red one. And the salespeople go, you know what? Smart people choose the red one. Oh, now I'm smart now. Thank you. He would have said that either way. Well, smart people choose the black one. Yeah. But you're like, wow, I'm smart now. And he might even tap you on the shoulder when he says that. It's an anchoring technique.
Anchoring is a bias that relies on the first piece of info received when making decisions, called the anchor. Once an anchor is set, new information is based around the anchor. The first piece of information you receive changes after your perception of any new information that comes after it.
So they might anchor that thought, and it's like, wow, every time he taps me on the shoulder, he's saying something good about me, like that Pavlovian dog theory again.
Yeah.
Every time the bell rings, the dog salivates. When the dog salivates, the dog gets a treat.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take long to know that you're going to drool for a living.
Yeah. That's it's a male life right there.
Right.
You just described it.
Yep. So that's pretty much, it's used in everything, though. People use it in religion. Mm-hmm. People help people get into a dissociative state when they pray. Your pastor does. He says things that are complementary to your belief system that helps open up that channel or that portal for your prayer to take place.
Right.
So it's used in every area of our life. When we came to see you as patients, my wife was experiencing some back pain. And you examined her, you did a little touchy-feely, you found out where it was, and she said, yep, that's where it is. And you said, oh, not too bad. We're going to get you fixed up. Now, I don't know because I'm not a chiropractor. Maybe she was really bad off. And if you would have said this to her, oh, my God, you are messed up, girl. I don't know if this is even going to work. You may have to come in here for 20 sessions. Oh, my God, this is the worst I've ever seen.
Right.
How do you think the healing process would have worked out? Not good.
Slows it down, yeah.
Not good at all. But instead you said, we're going to get you fixed up in no time. This is going to be great. This is easy. And she's like, oh, wow, okay, good. Her posture changed. I was watching.
Yeah.
Her posture changed when you said that.
Yeah.
Because she felt more confident.
Yeah.
She's confident in you and confident in her to heal.
Right.
So yeah.
I sell trust, so it makes sense.
I had an eye doctor, and this is one of my earliest recollections of a hypnotic experience. I had an eye doctor that when I was a kid, and I went in for the eye exam, and there's the chair with the thing, you know, the big lenses and that thing that looks rather intimidating if you've never been to an eye doctor before. It looks scary. To a 6 or 7 year old kid, it's scary.
Yeah.
So he goes, hop up in the chair. He goes, and then he asked me this. He said, which eye do you want the shot in? And I went, oh. And he immediately touched me on the shoulder. And he said, I'm just kidding. And he laughed. He goes, I would never put a shot in your eye. And what he was doing was this called, in the business, it's called a pattern interrupt. He saw the fear on my face when I walked in the room. He interrupted that fear pattern by saying something a little bit more scary, but then taking all the light off of that and making it funny. And then by tapping me on the shoulder, give me that little rest assured tap on the shoulder, and by nodding his head saying, I would never put that shot in your eye. Nobody would ever do that.
Yeah.
But what was he preparing me for? He was future pacing me for another part of the exam that was going to happen later on. You know, the part where they blow that little puff of air in your eye that nobody likes, even adults, right? And so when we got to that part of the exam, he said, remember I said giving you the shot in the eye? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's bringing back the shot. And he said, no. He said, don't worry about that. He goes, nobody would do that. And this is less than that.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for that, this is going to be easy. Absolutely. It's just a little puff of air in your eye. And he had me hold my hand up there, and he put the puff of air in my hand, and I go, well, okay, no big deal. I didn't even flinch. Now I flinch.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of distraction and misdirection in general. As a magician, it's
that's
magic.
what we do. That's what we do, yeah.
I need to take some lessons. That sounds fun.
You do it, too, in your practice. You said, look over here, and the next thing I know, my neck was snapping. I'm like, wow, what just happened? Do it again. There's the element of surprise, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A little
definitely.
bit. You can't, because I was tense at first, and you said, just relax a little bit, and you wiggled my head around a little bit, and then you got me. I'm like, hey, you got me.
I got to get you somehow.
You got to misdirect somehow. That's what we do. We misdirect the mind.
Yeah.
Thinking away from the negative, thinking more towards the positive.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It's all done for the benefit of the client. And
yeah, that's the environment I try to create within the office and the exam room is to provide the kind of ease the tension and get everyone to relax just the best they can. Obviously, sometimes they're in so much pain. Just like
right. I in the spirit of my optometrist, when I had a physical office in Tucson, I would lead clients back to the office, and I had a nice little lazy boy recliner for them to sit in. And right when they walk in the office, the very first time they were there with me, I would always say, go and have a seat in the chair with the wires. And I'd look for that little shocked reaction on their face. Now, some people would go, okay, and they'd sit right down. I'm like, okay, I can speak to them differently than I would speak to somebody with like, oh, there's wires, and they'd look at the chair and go, to try to feel for them. And I go, I'm just kidding, there's no wires.
Yeah.
And now I know I need to speak to them differently to build that rapport and trust. I need to coddle them a little bit more than I would with somebody who's just ready to sit down and get electrocuted.
Wow. Not
that I would electrocute anybody. There's no wires in the chair. Now it's their own chair because my clients are all virtual.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. Cool. Do you have any questions or anything?
No, this has been great. I hope your listeners got something out of this, and I hope that they're a little bit more more knowledgeable now in hypnosis, and it's not voodoo and witchcraft, and what it is and what it's not. It's not brainwashing. It's not mind control. It's not magical or mysterious. Well, it is somewhat magical, and that it's transformative. It's another option that could be used in addition to or to supplement medical treatment, things like chiropractic treatment. But try all the different modalities out there. That's my closing statement. Is my inspiration to your listeners is there's never one thing that will fix everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do multiple things. So be open to them. Try different things. See how they work. And if they work, continue to use them. If they don't, then find something else.
Absolutely. Awesome. That's a great message.
This is Reframing Modern Medicine with Alex and Dr. Rivas.
And
Michael Deschalit, hypnotherapist.
yes. All right. I think that's it. So thank you very much. Appreciate it as always.
Awesome.
It's
Great.
always a pleasure to see you, and I can't wait to see you. Oh yeah. Where do you perform? You said.
I perform downtown Vegas on Fremont Street. It's called the House of Magic. You can find it at houseofmagiclasvegas.com. The physical address is 700 Fremont Street. It's in the Zai Nightlife nightclub. It's a black building with a purple stripe right across the street from Container Park. The show's at 5 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. If I'm not on the show, there's a couple of other great magicians that are on the show. They're just not as good looking as I am. I just thought I'd mention that because you can't see me right now. But if you did see me, then you would know that probably the other guy is probably better looking than me. But we won't go there. And you can find me too online for hypnotherapy at www.virtualhypnosisonline.com. That's all spelled out, virtualhypnosisonline.com.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for listening, and we thank Michael Deschalit for coming onto the podcast. To learn more about Michael Deschalit, please visit virtualhypnosisonline.com. If you would like to check out other episodes of our podcast, please visit our page on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. This is Alex signing off for Dr. Rivas. Thanks for listening and or watching the 8th episode of Reframing Modern Medicine, and we hope to see you again soon.